विश्व में हमने युवाओं की आईटी एनर्जी के माध्यम से अपना एक रुतबा खड़ा किया है और भारत इसके बात के लिए गर्व कर सकता है। दुनिया में हम आंख में आंख मिला करके बात कर सकते हैं। और ये मेरा साफ मैं हमेशा कहता आया हूं, आईटी प्लस आईटी इज इक्वल टू आईटी। इंफॉर्मेशन टेक्नोलॉजी प्लस इंडियन टैलेंट इज इक्वल टू इंडिया टू गॉड।
Ashutosh, you need to unmute.
We can't hear you.
Yeah, I, Ashutosh Kumar Dubey, welcome all the audience at 19th World Education Summit. After lunch session here, and we have very interesting topic, that is future of jobs. What this gap year could mean for students in 2021. So we have very good panelists in this session. So we start first of all, Dr. N.T. Rao, Vice Chancellor, MIT World Peace University, Pune. Welcome to the show, sir. And second, I would like to introduce Dr. Sunil Pal, Vice Chancellor, University of Petroleum and Energy Studies. Welcome, sir. Then Professor V.N. Rajasekharan Pillai, Vice Chancellor, Somaiya Vidyavihar, University, Mumbai. So welcome, sir. And now we have Professor Shalini Gupta, Vice Chancellor, Desh, Bhagat University, Punjab. Welcome to 19th World Education Summit, ma'am. And then we have Dr. Nitin Malik, Registrar, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar University, Delhi. Welcome, sir. So now for this session, I would like to invite Dr. Nitin Malik, sir, to moderate the session. So I'm going to hand over this session to Dr. Nitin.
Thank you, Ashutosh. A very good afternoon to all the distinguished panelists over here, and I can see many familiar faces. And we are all together now again on the platform in this 19th World Education Summit. And as today this session is on the future of jobs, what this gap year could mean for students in 2021. So when Elets told me about this session to be carried out, I am putting my personal view. I was thinking about, is it really a gap year when an academia has really worked hard in this unprecedented pandemic period to be in continuity with the students and all the stakeholders by joining online and by virtual mode. So we will have a great discussion because we have senior eminent educationists over here and all vice chancellors, all senior people are over here. And as we all know that the world is changing at an exponential pace, there is the advent of technology. When we say that every second there is a new technology which is coming, we are into the industrial revolution 4.0 and we are marching ahead now talking about 5G and AI and a lot of things. There are a lot of things by which we could carry out the things, move ahead even in this unprecedented time. And when we are seeing that now there are driverless trains, there are driverless metro, the cars are also coming up. The technology is at such a pace that our own educational system has to keep a pace with the advent of the technology. And accordingly, we have to make, as an educator, as a stakeholder in the education, we need to participate towards the adoption of technology, towards the advent of the technology, so that make our educational system and make our youth ready for the future. That is what we have to look forward. So coming straight to, because we have an eminent panelist over here, the introduction has already been given of all the senior panelists today in this session, and I do hope, or I'm looking forward for a interaction and in a deliberation, and even of to what we are going to find out. And as I myself raised, though as a moderator I should not have raised, but I have raised whether really it is going to be a gap year or not. So I am looking forward for a very highly interactive session, and all the audience and all the people who are listening to us or who are watching us will also be enjoying and will be interested to know about, and we all will be learning a great from here. So starting the session, not taking more on that, I like to post the first kind of a deliberation. We can have a discussion on that technology is disrupting the world around us. How well as universities and institutions are responding to it? Number one, are institutes realigning their vision and enabling students towards skill development? We have heard a lot about the skill development, skilling, reskilling in the last few decades. And now almost at every pace of our country, every map of our nation, we are again and again talking about the skilling. So this is very important. Realigning their vision and enabling students towards skill development, future readiness, which mode of learning is preferred and why, and at a very high, or rather I would say a very, very strange thing which has happened, or I would say not a strange, but yes, we have to deliberate on that. Impact of 12th examination cancellation by the CBSE and the future of the entrance exam, because regarding the entrance exam, the government announcements are still awaited. So we will discuss on that, and I would like to start with this with our Honorable Dr. N.T. Rao. I'll request Dr. N.T. Rao, Vice Chancellor, MIT World Peace University, to initiate the deliberations on what we are discussing about today. Sir, over to you, sir. Dr. N.T.
Thank you, Nitin. At the outset, I would like to thank ELTS for inviting us for this World Summit, and also thank all the fellow speakers for allowing me to share the platform along with them. It's really a good opportunity for me. Now, we're calling it as a gap year. Why? Why should it be even calling it that first place? Is it the only crisis? Or is it the first crisis? Did not all the previous crises, did not we overcome them? Is it the first time we are saying? Definitely not. Let's go back to maybe this generation. I know how many people are watching now. Somewhere in 80s, mid-80s, when Shri Rajiv Gandhi ji was Prime Minister of India, he said, I'm going to computerize all the banks. All the banks in the country went on strike. No, if even the teller, if the cash that I'm giving, that job is taken by the ATM, if every day tallying job is taken by the computer, we don't want computers. So basically, we are looking at, I'm not, it's a one banking strike is one very small one. Let's move to 90s. Pradhan Mantri, Prime Narasimha Rao ji, he said, I'm going to open the market. I'm going to invite Samsungs and LGs or Volkswagens or Sonys, all those international markets into India. And the whole country was up in arms. No, we should not let this happen. All our jobs will go. If all the multi-national companies come, what will happen to us? Or maybe 2008, the worldwide recession took place. So all the big five, Goldman Sachs or any other company, they went off, they burst. But what happened? What happened to those crises? I would say that the world has been throwing question marks at us. We need to convert those question marks to exclamation marks at the end of the crisis. That will be my quote of the day. Let's convert the question marks thrown at us to the exclamation marks, but at the same time, at every exclamation mark, another new question mark comes. The question marks are endless. The crises are endless. COVID also one such question mark. I would also say probably, I see it from a different view. You are calling it as a gap year. I would call it as an opportunity year. Would we have gone to online mode every single education institution in this country, including from every single corner? I'm on record of saying, if people say that if COVID was a crisis and there were COVID warriors, I would say all the teachers around the world in every school, whether it's South America or Africa or Asia, whether it's Pune or Punjab or wherever, I call all the teachers as peacekeepers of COVID in this war of COVID. These peacekeepers ensure that not a single child missed his or her education, whether it's a primary education or a university education. So I would see this as an opportunity. Now, coming back to the gap year, what would happen to the future jobs? I would just like to give some numbers. This is from the biggest of them all. Bloomberg says that we lost about 255 million jobs. That's alarming. Or say Financial Express says the women employment has gone down to 11% and further it may decrease to 9%. Our Indian economy was expected to have lost 32,000 crores per day. 32,000 crores per day during the lockdown, the first lockdown. So this, when you talk with these numbers, they look alarming. But there is a silver lining in the cloud. There's a dark cloud, I do accept. But this dark cloud is not going to stay there. The silver lining is it. I would also like to look this when we're talking about the jobs. Are we talking about the jobs in campus interviews only? Because we are talking about education sector. Did the jobs really go? I mean, of course, government is on official record saying that the unemployment rate has touched 10%. Yes, this is definitely a problem. But if I see all the students who are in the universities, simple question, all of them at indoors, they were at home. Did they lead their lives exactly the same way in the last 1 year? No, they needed to adopt to the online. And it's difficult, maybe living with the parents and then making all those compromises and sacrifices because they needed to adapt to the system. COVID, if you go out, there will be a problem. So you adopted to that. Now, will you be doing the same thing to get a job now? No, definitely not. You can't say, well, I sat at home and then I studied my BCom or I studied my civil engineering or I studied my law and say, I didn't do anything extra, but still I want the same job. The jobs are not going to be same. You needed to have or you needed to get those extra skill set. So that's why I would say that I would not call this as a gap year. Like many crises that have come in the past, this crisis will also pass. The only thing is you need to be changing to the situation and adopting yourself and upskill yourself. So I don't see any gap year happening. And yes, jobs did decrease, but at the same time, I'll also say there is a cyclone. Cyclones were there, some devastated some parts of the country. Earthquakes were there, Bhuj or say maybe Latur. Did Latur same? Did it not pick itself up? Did not Bhuj pick it up itself? So these things happen. Let's say that nature has always been throwing question marks. It's we people, we need to convert those question marks to positive
Thank you.
and
Thank you
convert them
very
into
much. Yeah.
exclamation. That's where I
Yeah,
end. That's my
yeah.
opinion.
So that is why, sir, when even I took a liberty to raise the issue that whether really it is a gap year, or as you also commented on that we are seeing a silver line. It's an opportunity for us, because we in our country we had for the long we had been discussing, deliberating on the use of the ICT towards the higher education and even to the education system, and this COVID has taught us that yes, we can reach our student community, we can carry out the things forward even in this unprecedented situation, and very rightly use the word of as a peacekeeper for all the teaching faculty all across the world, and I really appreciate on that and salute to all the teachers and for looking forward towards the thing. I'll now put up to request B.S. Yadav sir, because he being a chancellor of an IES university, so I will just request him to put forward what we are discussing on the issue about the future jobs, as well as about this skilling of the student, whether the skilling now requires a reskilling or a tight skilling with the COVID-19 pandemic situation. Over to B.S. Yadav. Sir, you will have to unmute. Yadav sir, you are on mute.
Sorry, sir. Before this, I just I couldn't introduce Engineer B.S. Yadav, sir. Sorry for that. So he's also our panelist from IES University Bhopal. So I think, sir, it's your turn to speak.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Malik. It's very important question for every guardian and every student about the job and the change which is going to be affected due to this pandemic. So now, due to this pandemic, as this whole dialogue is started from technology disruption. So biggest saying about a teacher is that teacher is always learner. So the question of gap year is always is not there. So I should congratulate entire teaching fraternity, management, and their leaders and this all educators in terms of never foreseeing this pandemic, and they have changed themselves. They adapted to new technology, different type of LMS, learning management systems, and online platform. They were not used to, even not mentally ready to this due to pandemics, but due to this overnight sudden issue, they changed themselves, and this whole system again started. And you can see once this pandemic comes in the month of March 20. So next 10 days, 15 days, almost most of the institution, colleges, universities started their online teaching learning process. I think from job perspective, I think there is a challenge in terms of technology in new areas, particularly if I talk about technical courses, particularly those related with technology. So there is a lot of changes due to this introduction of AI and other platforms. So this job in data science, big data, AI, data science, so all these things are going to be like a big boon for the student, those who are really interested to learn new technologies. In terms of this gap year, I would like to say that definitely there is so many things in terms of mental wellness of the kids, particularly school students, due to they are away from the physically campuses from many states. They are away for more than 15, 16 months continuously. So this is the challenge. But yes, as Dr. Rao already told, there is a silver lining. So there is an opportunity as well. And we as a country of biggest human resources in the world, so all these stakeholders coming together, and there is a positive change is visible. If we, at IES University, what we have seen in terms of number of jobs, particularly in technical courses, engineering, in engineering, particularly IT industry and other allied courses, I've seen number of tremendous growth in terms of the opportunity, in terms of the job availability in the market. So there is a positive side, I think. Thank you.
Thank you, Engineer Yadav sir. Moving ahead, very rightly said by him that this is the time when the opportunities are there, and there has been a continuum change of the opportunities. The opportunities which we we had been carrying out in the past was purely on the physical basis, but with the ICT and the use of the ICT more, even then opportunities have been there, but only thing is that we have to change the cap. The cap has to be changed. The techniques have to be developed. The things have to be carried out in our system so that more opportunities, more job opportunities are created. Now, moving further to a very strong personality, I can see Professor Shalini Gupta over here. She is the Vice Chancellor of Desh, Bhagat University, Punjab. So, madam, you come from a field where the culture itself carries out or more on the skills development. So, as a Vice Chancellor, as an educator, as a leader, what do you foresee? It's like how we can make it more viable to this situation for the jobs ahead and carrying out in the market. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. In fact, we all have been discussing that we are passing through a difficult stage, but we all have made it this crisis we have changed it into an opportunity. So we all have been working towards the digitalization, which is now the backbone of any university or any of the colleges. And when we talk about the future, maybe future skills or future jobs, I connect them both. Because when we talk about future jobs, nowadays we need to take care of the future skills. Though the jobs are in the technical fields, because when we talk about AR, VR, AI, ML, or all those database technologies, then of course, when the technologies are coming in, maybe in education or in the general job market, it means we need to have the specialists of that. So as per my discussions with many of the HR people or many of the leading organizations, VPs, that emerging areas are, of course, data analysts, maybe since big data is there, or AI or machine learning analysts. It means technical jobs are in, but at the same time, what we could see was that their human interactions it is now getting less, and we are isolated more or less. We are connected through social media or we are connected through calls. So in that case, the human factor is more important, and people are looking for future skills, like they are looking for the team members. They are looking for the people who are emotionally intelligent, who have more creativity, or maybe they are able to analyze the problems. They are able to take the problem in the right context and go for the brainstorm and get the new ideas. I mean, they are looking for collaborative team members. So all these traits we all universities have to work on, because though it is individual based, but at the same time it is our duty, or it is we all, that we have to inculcate these habits, maybe in the form of curricula. Very fortunately, CBCS is there, life skills. Apart from swam is there, life skills are there, technical skills were already there, you see. So in that case, so we have to connect the future job roles to the future job skills as well. This is, I would say that in Desh Bhagat University, we are really working on that. We are trying that those students who are going for any kind of jobs, they are first online. Everything is online nowadays. So they are trained for their various skills. Maybe short-term programs nowadays are on for the students. At the same time, we are working on the mental wellness. We all talked about just now also we talked about mental wellness, and students, they were very fearful, situation was uncertain, and when we talk about the jobs, again situation is really uncertain for them. They are worried, I would say. If they are worried, then again our mental counselors, we have a line, phone line for the students, or special facilities are there, so we are taking care of this. At the same time, since we have to take care of the health of the students as well, and the health of the faculty, because we need to take care of the total overall holistic point of view for the students. So we are giving the option for the students to come to the campus, those who are nearby, just for them. For the vaccination, there was some vaccination issues were there, so it is all free of course for the faculty, alumni, anybody can come. So it is the holistic point of view that we are taking care of our students well, in terms of training, future skills, future jobs, and guiding them, and sending them the posts regularly, so that they are well aware and connected to the campus. So this is how.
Very right,
Thank
and
you.
this is the two main aspects which we all all need to look forward. That is the holistic and the inclusion. These two things need to be carried out in totality. That is how we learn from the past and move ahead, as Dr. N.T. Rao in his opening remarks said that this is not a new thing and we have always come out of it. So we have to slowly understanding the difficulties, move forward. And in this further, to an always young professor, I always find him handsome and young, and with all his Josh, Professor Sunil Rai, Vice Chancellor UPES, that now I put a very straight kind of a question, rather a deliberation, which we would like to hear from him. Sir, what do you feel? What trends and shifts you feel or you can say that we should follow out based on your experience that the country has been seeing through the past few years in terms of job and employment? What are the major insights you want to highlight regarding the future job market? How we can cope up? Means like now most of the curriculum, even the UGC has also said that let 40% be by the online courses which has already been developed. So there's a lot of MOOCs, lot of online curriculum is there, but we need to adapt. We need to invent and carry out further. So we'd like to hear from you, Professor Sunil Roy, because every time I hear from you, you have new jokes to add into the youth, and we look forward for it.
Problem. Occasionally it goes.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Malik sir. It's very nice when at a young age of 63, you are called full of Josh. It is so very encouraging that Dr. Malik has, addressed me as, and it's great. Firstly, I would like to, at the outset, thank ELTS for giving us this opportunity to bring out this very important subject to deliberate upon. I also pay my respect to all my fellow panelists who are there on the call today. Just a reiteration, as already it has been started well by Dr. Rao and emphasized by everybody. It's a great year, and I will say why it's a great year. It's not a gap year; it's a great year, and it's a great year because just imagine, just before 2020, we were at the begging end of the services to the rest of the world, from technology, from pharmaceutical, particularly pharmaceutical and health services. Today, the world looks at India for pharmacy. India has become the world's pharmacy. Just imagine in 1 year how things have changed. In G7 summit today, Prime Minister Modi is the special invitee by Prime Minister Boris Johnson to teach the Western world as to how do you manage this pandemic and how does a nation of this size has already managed. So this has been a great year, number one. Number two, what has happened is the whole context has changed. I don't think we can now talk of jobs, and this context has been changed that we are no longer teachers and they are no longer students. They have actually become our partners. My article in Hindustan Times, I talk about it. We, as it has been applauded by my colleagues, and I pay my respect to the entire teaching community the world over, how quickly we adopted. In just 15 days' time, the entire teaching community shifted to online. It's kudos to them. Then our entire teaching community, even when the government was saying don't take exams, we all shifted to online proctored mode examination. I mean, what more proof do we need that we have arrived as a nation, which doesn't end? So the whole context has changed in this last 1.5 years. So jobs will not be the same jobs. When the scene has changed, how will the job? So we don't expect Rana Pratap to come back again. My example come like this because I am ex-Navy commander, and therefore I cannot but talk about how things were fought. If Rana Pratap comes today, he has been the biggest, the greatest sword fighter ever the world saw. But today when he comes, the whole context has changed in these days of electronic warfare. Then therefore the Rana has to now change his sword to a different kind of self-seeking missile system. And this is what has happened. So we don't call them jobs because they are no longer students. They are our partners. We couldn't have done it as teachers if the students didn't collaborate with us. See, because the other end of the online was with them. there was only one win with this. At least when they are in class, we can tell them, "Theek se baitho, khade ho jao, chup ho jao." There they were there in the confines of their home. So they have become our partners. The whole job has changed. We will find very different kind of jobs. I will say it by an example. For example, tomorrow, if I'm somebody in the hospitality industry, then this hotel that I am creating has to be a hotel that can, of course, number one, serve the purpose of hospitality, to serve the guests. And very quickly, it should transform itself, should the situation demand, into a hospital, like how malls have been converted to hospitals. So the hotel has to convert to hospital. That means that frontline receptionist of a hotel now also doubles up becoming the receptionist of a hospital. And all these servicing agents now become paramedics. What I'm trying to come at is that you don't even know what kind of different kind of job roles will change, how the market will pan out. And this could happen only, and the Prime Minister has given a very good mantra. He has, why did he talk about Atmanirbhar Bharat? That Atmanirbharta was that whenever you walk on the life, or we talk of Indian Jugaad, you don't know what will be the situation next. It's Corona today, it may be his elder sister tomorrow. We don't even know. And the elder sister may be with more horns. It's quite possible. And the way mankind is playing around with the nature, it's only evident that we are going to go through more of floods, and what Dr. Rao was mentioning, flood, earthquake, famine, they are only increasing. They are not famine, fortunately, but they are all only increasing, which means when these situation changes, the job roles will change, right? So it will not be a manager, it will be a facilitator. Therefore, what is required is that you have to understand the context. What am I? Am I a hero? Am I a villain? Am I a comedian? What am I? So the context has to be understood. Adaptability has to be very high, and therefore there is no room for job seekers. There are people who will create their own jobs. Now, company will not call the students and say, "Hey, you do it for this." The students will tell them, "Listen, I can sing for you. I can do this for you. Now, do you have a kind of a situation that you can use me?" The whole thing is turning upside down. And therefore, I think, to me, it's a great year. And I have a lot of respect for the entire industry, the entire nation, and the entire teaching community. And above all, I say it always, I'll say it again. I think we are destined. We are very, very fortunate that we have got the youngsters, the best young minds anywhere in the world happen to be in India. And we talk to them with respect, because these are the citizens of the country which is going to be number one by 2035. And therefore, these are not people who are looking for jobs. They are the people who will create jobs for the rest of the world. So I think this has been a great year. There's no problem of jobs. We just have to understand that the context has changed, and we need to respect that we have got the kind of industry, the entire industry switched within 2 days from industrial oxygen to health oxygen. All of us know about it. Within 2 days, the railways transformed into an oxygen carrier from another bulk carrier. See how quickly the nation and the railway compartments converted into quarantine centers. Amazing. So the way things are happening at that high speed, the way the context is changing, it has been a great year. We are a great nation, and we got great youngsters. So there's no problem. Thank you.
Very rightly said. Very rightly said. That is why I said, Professor Rai, that whenever we hear you with a josh, because you give us a mantra then, and you give us a pavement that we walk further ahead with positivity. And this is positivity that initially, when we talked about from a gap year, we are coming to a great year concept. And this is the great year. Really, I also feel that we are into a great year where we have an adaptation, highly adaptive, working towards moving ahead with all constraints and looking forward. I do not see whether Professor Rajasekharan Pillai, is he here? Professor Pillai? He joined in between, but I think has been a connectivity issue at his end. So I'll move forward. I don't see him over here on the connected platform. So we move forward that we all agree that this year is a great year because it's a learning year for all of us, and even in higher education, let us be that we have a lot of experience in the higher education. When I'm sitting in such an august panelist in front of me, where all senior educators are here, chancellors and vice chancellor of the university, with a very huge experience. But then again, when we say in our education that it has to be always unlearn and relearn, so we are relearning the concept of what we are facing today in this unprecedented time. And this year had been a year also of distress. This year had been a year of stress. It had been a year of mental issues, economic issues, and lots needs to be carried out and understood in the context of moving ahead. But still, I would like to hear from our eminent panelist, Dr. N.T. Rao. Back to you, sir. What the universities learn from the challenge in this COVID times? What do you think is like this transformation persists in future and depends where we learn from this COVID pandemic and move ahead? Over to you, sir. Dr. N.T. Rao, sir.
Thank you, Malik sir, once again. Coming back to the question, what the universities have done, it will not be appropriate for me to comment on other universities because each university is distinct. Each university's role is different. Each university mandate is different. So each one must have done differently. But I could only give perspective from my institution and maybe some general statements. But as I mentioned in my earlier comments, the COVID pandemic fast-forwarded our lives. What's fast-forward? You are at a particular scene, you're watching some scene or listening to some music. So suddenly you think, no, I need to go forward. And staying there, you go to the next one. You fast-forward. That's what COVID did. We were teaching in a particular manner. We were adopting certain pedagogy. We were following certain norms. And suddenly it says, okay, I press a fast forward, and we moved. And how did we move? Move to online. As I mentioned, everyone in the world. That's one part of the story. At the same time, other challenge it was like the internships, industry, jobs. So those who already had jobs, they could easily move it. But as the process was still going on during the academic year, at least from my university, I can tell you, sir, every single student on the campus, not on the campus, but every single student who was enrolled, we could find internships for them, paid internships for every single one, whether it's from BA, BCom, or pharmacy, or engineering, or everything. So because we did convince the industry, yes, our students will be your future employees, so they would be able to help you to ascertain some, whatever tasks you can ascertain, they will be able to deliver. So that's a major achievement that I would say, because we engaged with the industry and we have a Center for Industry Academia partnership. Because in most organizations, we love it as a training and placement, but we have this organization, it's not only when the campus jobs come. So we engage them into, we make them as part of our organization. Because every single board of studies, we have industry partners, and then they are one of the biggest strengths for us being in an industrial town like Pune. We have the visiting faculty coming on every sphere of life. When we say industry, it's not an engineering industry we talk about. It could be from the management, marketing, or say even law, pharmacy, whichever. So engaging with industry helped us to overcome this particular aspect. Adopting technology, yes, it took us some time, because suddenly it's not one thing is to teach, and after that, how do you conduct the evaluations? How do you conduct your to getting the right platform? So all that, it took time, but yes, we had to, because we were pushed. We had no other choice. We had to swim. It's something like you're thrown in a stream. You can't say I can't survive. You have to survive. There's no choice. The choice was given to us. So that way we took all those steps. And one thing that I would like to mention here, when we are only talking about technology, adopting and future and forward and jobs and all that, one major thing that my university has taken, and then which I keep saying in every platform here at the cost of getting repeated, we took care of the human element, sir. We took care of the human element of talking to every student. We have this mentor-mentee, this thing where students were talked to by teachers. Each teacher was given 15 students, and then talking to them making them, keeping their morale high, giving them emotional strength. And then at the same time, the Vice Chancellor also was talking to all the teachers, picking the phone, and all the 700 teachers. We spoke and made sure that the pandemic did not impact them emotionally. So we are talking about technology, okay, jobs and all that. That's all that. But are we mentally strong? Are we ready to take up those challenges? So that aspect also we took care. And that way, I would say most of the universities also took opportunities to. I think some good universities try to take this up challenge, whether they can find solutions through sanitizers and all that. Maybe the student projects that they give, somebody came up with oxygen plants and all. Even our students, I think their hand sanitizer was among the Prime Minister's projects, number 2 and number 3 in the country. So that way, students were also given those challenges. It's not necessarily that we stopped that job creation. We, with our technology business incubator center and entrepreneurship development cell, we also thought encouraging and promoting them with their startups. Then they get skills, and then when many startups they came up in this period where they came up with apps that could help them for the betterment of the way we were living better than that. So that way, this is again, as Sunil Roy sir was mentioning, I think I was impressed. I was so fascinated by the way he said. So opportunity came, then you need to convert that opportunity, understand your role. You can't be playing the same role. If it's given, if your hotel was hospital, see that there's a new role. If COVID has said, okay, no jobs, no movement outside, so maybe the delivery, say maybe had to. There's so many other ways it created opportunities. Politics technology, app is not app kind of a technology. Apps really did the rule in many which ways. So I think we as universities, we encourage the students. We took the industry on board. I think these two are major steps. And at the same time, we also added that human side, where everywhere you would see us telling them every single student was whichever part of the country, including Jammu, Kashmir, and Northeast, which are difficult terrains. We try to reach out to them, gave them comfort, gave them that assurance and emotional support. So these are the things that
very rightly said, Professor Rao, that it was, and rather it is the time of handholding of each of us so that we move forward. And that is how all the universities and higher educational institutes have been carrying out. Fortunately, I can see Professor Rajasekharan Pillai over here. The connection seems to be some issues at his end, but I can see him on the dashboard, and if we are able to, if he's listening to us, sir, can we have some views of yours, please, Professor Rajasekharan Pillai? I think there is some connection issues. I mean, like I can see his connection, but there seems to be an internet problem. Anyhow, the moment he comes again into it, so we will request Professor Rajasekharan Pillai, being a very senior educator, administrator, and even he has led to UGC also. So we will like to hear from him his views and on the same. Before coming to Professor Shalini Gupta to understand more about it, let me add to what Dr. N.T. Rao said. This hand-holding was so important because, as Professor Sunil Rai said, that we immediately, all over the country, the teaching fraternity came into it as we were thrown into the kind of a situation where we have to survive. It was not only the question of we have to survive, we have to make our stakeholders, our students more to survive. So the role was very, very different. It was a dual role of all the educational institutes, that they have to cater to a larger segment of society when there was a COVID pandemic which came all of a sudden without any kind, and as a disaster it came to us. So even in our university, I like to share it with you because we have a cultural as well as the geographical diversity all across the country, where the students are far from Northeast or from Jammu and Kashmir, like as said by Dr. N.T. Rao. So the problem issue was how do we connect to them, though we shifted to online, but all students were not having they were not having the laptop with them or the desktop with them at their home, or either they had one device where 3 members of the family are dependent on that. Their elder brother or elder sisters or younger sister or brother, they are also having a classes. So that was a need where the university felt, and to all those students in our Ambedkar University, means with our honorable Vice Chancellor, though it is a public university, then also we took some special permission. We created a fund, and the university purchased tablets, and around 55 tablets were distributed to such needy students, and we sent it across through the speed post or through couriers to them at their native villages and native places. So one initiative was that, which the universities and higher education institute started keeping it up. Second was reimbursement of the internet packages, because most of the students, they were on the mobile phone, they were carrying it out. And then definitely, which all our teaching fraternity has been carrying out, recording the session, because if you miss, there's an internet connectivity problem. So where to keep it? So recording the lectures when the lectures are being given online, and then sending it as making it as a repositories which can be utilized. This all has been carried out, and that is how the handholding was further carried out in all the universities. So over to Professor Shalini Gupta, if you can add more into it. So we would like to hear from you, Professor Gupta.
Thank you so much. In fact, truly, the COVID situation has drastically changed the Generation Z's college experiences. No hostel parties, no bunk classes, right? And then no midnight parties even. So they were at their homes. Their homes were with their PCs or with their mobile phones. They were working on it with very less of student engagement, I would say. So that was the major challenge, where hand holding had to be there, that how we have to engage them. So as the university, we took the way normally we do too, but online also we had to celebrate their days. We did, for example, Northeast Day celebrations or Andhra delicacies, because hotel management students, they were given the context like this, that you have to come up with any of the delicacies of your places. So we had J&K festivals online, so celebration of days, maybe biodiversity day. So the students, apart from academics, they are engaged. The way they were engaged in the campus, we have been doing the alumni meets even, maybe our Canada chapter or maybe J&K chapter, and the present students also joining them. So again, maybe cultural programs, we have been doing all those youth festival programs and all, because it was hand holding of the students, that we connect to you. You are again with us. So this was really very fruitful. And though I talked about earlier also that the mental wellness, the second hand holding was required at the faculty level. Though again, FDPs, all those academic friends, they are open to everyone. But we took their emotional security front, because of the loss of jobs in the general scenario. So many people or their spouses, they had lost their jobs. So we tried that they are with us. They are online with us. We are taking care of their mental health as well, along with along with the security, that they're not going to be away from us. I mean, they will not be on leave, or we won't be paying them. So that was a major financial security to them. At the same time, we wanted to work on the productivity of faculty. So the faculty members who were in the campus, since there is a township, so many of the around 100 people are 100 families, they are living in the campus. So we took their yoga sessions. So online sessions used to be there for online as well as offline people. So this helped us again connecting with them. This was the hand holding for them. So apart from financial to emotional to, of course, academic stability, we helped them out. Then I missed the point that fee issue or the hostel fee issue, they were the major problems with the students, because students are from far off places. I have students from all over the country. So the students who were nearby, many of the students had gone for the trainings. For example, my Northeast students, they couldn't come back to their campus. Their hostel issues were there. So we really took care of them in that way, that wherever they are not able to pay the fee, or the needy students, they wanted some time concession, whatever, we were there to take care. And then that was the time then when my IEDC, Innovation and Entrepreneurial Development Campus, we really worked in that. because many of the students, they wanted to go into that as a incubator or maybe as an entrepreneur later on. So we started giving them the seed money at their places. For example, a few of the girls from Northeast, they started with their small ventures. One was digital. Another, she started with, she was the agri graduate or third year of agri. She wanted to start something in horticulture. So we sent some money as seed money. And during this time, as we have already said, that it is not a gap year, rather it was it is a great year. So during that great year, students, they really did some great small things. Few of the persons, they went for the startup trainings because we were here, or my corporate relations cell was here to take care of them. They went into HR analytics. So the computer fellow into HR. So it was an interdiscipline also, and the student was able to perform well, get the training apart from the regular classes, because their timings they were catering to Australia market. So they were able to manage both of the things. So this is how we tried hand-holding not only our students for the classes, but for their overall, again.
And I like to add,
Didactic part of the system.
and I go forward adding to it, and you will agree with me, Professor Gupta, that this hand-holding was in a more flexible and more resultant, rather, because the students at their own home or at their own place, they were working together within their time domain. It was not into a fixed compartmentalized, like in the classes we used to have, that you have to come at 9 o'clock, go back for your lunch at 1 o'clock to your hostel, again come back and then have 4. So depending upon their availability of the time and suitability, they were carrying ahead. And yes, the role of the educators, role of the teachers, role of the universities, role of the higher education institute, it became doubled. I mean, there was a hand holding. We were holding their hands, and they were directly holding our hands, and we all are being marching forward. So with this, I'll now come to a very important aspect of today's discussion, and that Professor Sunil Rai and Dr. N.T. Rao had already initiated. They ignited, rather, that whenever we are looking forward for the pace in the advent in the technology, so industry comes the major era. Means like it's a major hub, and especially when we are talking about the technical and professional education. Technical and professional education needs to be industry based. This is what we have been talking a lot, deliberating upon it, and it has always been discussed with the industry that what we are teaching in the universities and higher educational institutes, does industry really require that curriculum to be carried out towards them, because they are the performing end over there, they are the production end over there, where they are coming into the market. So starting with the engineer B.S. Yadav, being from the engineering background, and you being the chancellor of the university, so you have a vision of the university working toward it. And so I'll just put a straight kind of a thing which we like to understand from you, that what could be done to better to enable higher educational institutes to work together with the industry to meet the needs of the future. What exactly industry, or what can be the relationship, symbiotic relationship, or social structural relationship between the industry and the higher education? Yadav sir.
Thanks, Malik sir. So it's a very important topic. Like I think in last many years, you have seen every institute having a industry institute partnership side. So first we have to understand that our country is having a huge diversity in many terms. If we talk about the availability of industry nearby any private university or any even government or other institution, so we have to understand the diversity in terms of like how much this local industry is available, how much you need to like make job or internship available outside your state or outside your area. So as an institution or as a university, we have to prepare ourselves as per the need of the particular industry. If whatever, like if you talk about this technical or professional education, so last 4-5 years we seen tremendous change in terms of opportunity of internship. Everybody is appreciating so many internship is now available. because we are closely working with the AICT. So many platform AICT people try to make available this internship through different platforms and different collaboration with different industry. So university have to arrange this people from industry, nearby industry or outside industry. There should be every institution having a board of studies. So on that front, so if I talk about my own university, so in technical and professional courses, majority of the cases we have a people in our board of studies who are who makes this curriculum design and future guidance. So we have a people from different industry, but like if we talk about IT industry, core industry, particularly other like we talk about this management education, then pharmaceutical education. So we have a from pharma people from pharma industry as well. So we have to update ourselves, and this important updates come for all the stakeholders. This is for a university management, and this is also very important for faculty point of view. They have to upgrade. So now upgradation should be happen in a domain wise. So it should not be a journal like updation. Then it's a third one is a student is very important stakeholder, which need to understand the changes in the industry. And you see in technology front, every year you see this tremendous change in the technology. What technology we are using, we can't say after a year we can use this much. Now you see this even for recruitment of this university, you see 80-90% work is happening on online in terms of this shortlisting the faculty resources, all these things. So students also have to understand and embrace this change. If everybody work in tandem, I think there is no problem in terms of working closely with the industry. And if we are ready ourselves for the industry point of view, if we make a change, necessary changes which industry is looking, because industry is not in position to afford the again a training on basic skills. So these skills we have to inculcate our student, and that should be supported by the faculty. So proper training for all the faculties and student is required, and NEP is also focus on these areas. So ultimately, objective of the education to provide the employability either in terms of jobs or in terms of entrepreneurship, development of entrepreneurship in the student.
Very rightly, very rightly said, Yadav sir, because this is the time. It is not only that we have to make our students to be industry ready. We have to even train our teachers that they have to teach, and curriculum has to be developed that needs to fit the industry catering. And now coming to Professor Sunil Rai, sir, in the defense we have the red book. So we follow the red book in totality. Whatsoever is there in the inverted comma, and we move ahead in the same way. But in higher education, when we are talking about the role of the industry, and industry is dependent on the technology, and technology is changing every day. So how do you feel, being a vice chancellor of a university and as an educationist or as an educator, what we need to do to meet or to fill in the gap that is existing between the industries and the higher educational institutes? Professor Rai.
Thank you very much, Dr. Malik sir. I think for me it's one word: partnership. You know, everybody has talked about it, and all good universities are doing this. In their board of studies, there are people from industry who. So we are all, or to some extent, or to a large extent, doing what is called co-designing, co-delivering, and co-certifying. So that is anyway happening, and in different proportions as far as different universities are concerned. But the major thing is about partnership. Now, the partnership, when it comes, it is not that I will give you the students, then you do what you want to do with them. You know, because we are the skills provider to the nation. You know. But we have to also understand the industry, for which I think the points have been covered. We, of course, have a very compulsory internship for faculty. We don't promote you from assistant to associate unless you have done at least 2 internships with the industry. So we have those kind of policies. So our faculty is. The other thing that we have also done is we've created School for Life. Now, School for Life is out of 164 credits that are required for BTech program. 42 credits we are spending, investing in School for Life, where we're talking about those kind of skills which the industry is actually looking for. And industry is coming and joining us in creating all that. For example, creativity. Now, creativity cannot be taught. Creativity has to be nurtured, right? Sensitivity to people, sensitivity to environment. Now, those are kind of things which, and the industry in any way has taken a lot of lead. In fact, all industries now go for green buildings and sustainable development. And so it's a by way of their nature. Industry wants that when these students, then they join them, they should be fully the feeling of sustainability, of partnerships, and creativity and all that we talk about. Teaching, of course, we will do. The curriculum has to be completed, but it is these aspects which are more important. So how it changed basically in the partnership, and I just with one example, the partnership is that there is an industry which is doing business and there is an industry's partner. For example, we work very closely with IBM. So we told IBM that, okay, it's not that just you take the students from here in numbers, and IBM does take a lot of students from UPS. We said, firstly, you identify your partners, identify what kind of service you want to do, deliver to your partners, and therefore let you and me, IBM and UPS, co-develop these students so that it can fit in your partnership, in your business. So there is a partnership now between the industry, the university, and the business environment. And all three of them work together so that with this changing environment, we are quickly able to adapt. So it's everybody is, so what happens, we are a trend-driven country. Suddenly everybody will talk about AI, ML, then we will find a lot of programs coming in AI, ML. And, that's the biggest selling thing with, I used to be the Dean of Mukesh Patel many years back, where N.T. Rao Saab also was there. On one particular year, we closed the civil engineering in just 15 minutes of opening. But the trends that particular year was that for civil engineering. Now, therefore, now in life, we need to view it in a partnership manner, that the industry, the students, and the university, all of them become partner in creating that kind of world that we are all trying to create. So I think biggest lesson is, when we have created this school for life, is to understand life. And when you talk of life, it's all about us. It's all about you and me in that order. And therefore, before I go to an industry for placement, I should understand what the industry is requiring for their business. And therefore, come back here and we co-create the labs, co-create the curriculum, co-deliver and co-certify. So I think for me, it's one word, one mantra: partnership. Sahyog, Sadbhav.
Very rightly said, sir. Very rightly. That is only the mantra which is going to lead ahead, because it is open for the universities, especially the private universities, where they can design and develop their own curriculum and the need with the industry linkages. No doubt the public universities are also having the tie-ups and partnership with the industries as the need is. But then that is really great on the part which you told us, the one mantra, that you are not promoting from assistant professor to associate professor until and unless they have 2 internships with the industry to understand what exactly the need of the industry is there, what exactly the industry require, the input from the students, or for what kind of managers or what kind of performers they want into the industry. And always I also have been saying in number of places and have been requesting that this relationship or the partnership between the industry and the higher education institute is to be irreversible. It cannot. It has to be reversible. It's like 2-way process. It needs to be carried out. It cannot be one way, that the teachers and curriculum is developed on the basis of the industry-based requirement. But we also need. We can request the people from the industry, the managers and even the floormen over there, to come over to the universities, take a sabbatical from industry, come to university, teach the course in the universities, make the need to fit in all method what they require from the industry, train the students accordingly, and then work. So this method has to go ahead. So now quickly coming to Dr. N.T. Rao. Again, back to you, sir. How will the university manage to overcome regulatory, financial, and cultural obstacles to implement the transformation? Transformation is the key. That is the key to success. That we all have to move ahead. So, how do you feel that this universities manage to overcome regulatory, financial, and cultural obstacles which are there?
Yeah, thank you that you asked this question. Transformation, yes, that's the key. I would. I'm really happy that you said this, and even Bhagavad Gita, Krishna did mention this thousands of years ago. Transformation is the key for the survival. We need to transform, but you also put the right blocks. The regulatory authorities. The regulatory authorities, though we are supposed to be all private universities, we have got so much of autonomy. That autonomy, I guess, more or less gets limited to some extent only formulating our own syllabus and curriculum. I'm not talking about public universities. They got a much bigger autonomy. But maybe we have an advantage of financial autonomy in terms of we don't need any funding from the. So there are obstacles. Yes, we need to overcome them. It's not easy to transform, but again, there's no choice for you now. How do you? Because if you don't, we don't survive. There's a transformation. This is again a challenge which we need to survive. If we need to survive, we need to overcome those regulatory authorities. We need to overcome that all other financial or say even transformation processes. We need to transform. Because the best way we thought was like when we were university, though as a group we have been existing in the last 4 decades. So we thought, okay, we have taken a deep breath. And we said, okay, we have been here this many years. So this is where we were. This is where we want. And we also have a categorically planned next 5 years. So where we want to be. If we want to be here, so what we need to do. If we need, these are the things, these are the resources we need. This is the infrastructure we need. This is the intake of the student. This is the number of research papers that we need. This is the number of placements we need. So you have the planning. Then divide each, as I say, bigger target into smaller targets. Get the smaller targets, and then smaller target, and then achieve. Yes, regulatory authorities is one major problem that all of us have, but sooner or later we need to overcome. Maybe we expect probably with the NEP we would have little more freedom to walk our way, because when we can convince the organization. So for that, again, when I say survival because you need to perform or perish. Because for our own survival, we need to perform. If we perform, then a strong message will go. Here is a university which has so many publications, which has got so many research projects, so much of funding. So you can't be saying no to that. So for that, it's compelling us to excel. So that's why I will look at that way. And then I think we should, all the universities that perform well will do well. I think Professor Sunil Rai did mention one example. IBM may be their partner, but it also can redefine the role of industry. But this is how I see how we can progress. Perform, progress. Otherwise, no performance, you perish. So
very right, sir. So now a quick, because we are already coming to the end of the session. So quick, I'll request all the panelists, one word, not one word, rather I'll say, 1 minute or half a minute. What message would you like to give to our younger generation and even to looking forward, moving ahead with this, what we are in present conditions and moving ahead towards the new challenges which may come or which we foresee. So starting with Professor Shalini Gupta, I'll request the panelists to be very, very brief because we are coming to an end of our discussion. Yes, Professor Shalini Gupta.
Maybe one line, I would say that we need to be very positive in life. Change is constant and we have to think of that. So just be positive and believe in him, God.
Very right.
That's it.
Engineer B.S. Yadav, sir.
So, Madam Gupta rightly said, positivity is the only solution. So be positive. And as an elder, all the stakeholders should support the kids, young generation, to overcome especially this pandemic.
Dr. N.T. Rao, I could hear you. The performance is the best, and the now one liner, sir, from your side, the message to the younger generation.
You have faced so many examinations and passed triumphantly. God has given you one more question paper this year. You would pass in these examinations also in distinction. Just take it as an exam.
Great. So now back to Josh again. We want to hear the Josh from you, sir. Professor Sunil Rai.
Yeah, so I will say with this, Josh sir, that दूसरों की जय के पहले खुद की जय करें. Respect yourself. Everything else will fall in place.
Great, sir. Great. So over to you, Ashutosh. I think we are well in time.
Yeah.
It's well in time that we could hear, and it's really a great pleasure of mine too to listen and learn a lot of things from such a eminent panelist we have today. We are sorry we could not have Professor Rajasekharan Pillai over here, because it would have been great even to hear from such a eminent personality, Professor Rajasekharan Pillai, whom I know very well in person from the days when I was a student. I used to interact with him, but unfortunately, because of the internet connectivity, we could not have him over here. So, Ashutosh, over to you now.
Thank you, sir. It's a well-moderated session, and really, I thank all the panelists on discussing this topic, and I think all topic covered in this. So now it's time for speaker certificate. So Aman, can we have speaker certificate here? So this is for Dr. Nitin Malik, sir. This is for you. This is like a speaker certificate. Congratulations for the same. And next for Dr. N.T. Rao, Vice Chancellor, MIT World Peace University, Pune.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for joining us. And next one is for Dr. Sunil Rai, Vice Chancellor, University of Petroleum and Energy Studies. Thanks for coming, sir.
Thank you.
This is for Professor Shalini Gupta, Vice Chancellor, Desh, Bhagat University, Punjab. Thanks for coming, ma'am.
My pleasure always. Thank you.
And this is for Engineer V.S. Yadav, Chancellor, IS University, Bhopal. Thanks for coming, sir.
Thank you.
So I think Rajasekharan Pillai was not there because of some network issue. But here is the certificate will send to him. Professor V.N. Rajasekharan Pillai, Vice Chancellor, Somaiya Vidyavihar, University, Mumbai. So with this, I thank again all the panelists to join us at 19th World Education Summit 2021. So after this, we have next session. So you all can join the session also as a delegate.
Just 1 minute. Just 1 minute.
Yes,
Thank
sir. Yes,
Yadav sir. Sir, we are meeting for the first time. Thank you very much. Sunil ji, we have so many associations, but thanks for meeting you here now. And again, madam, we also have an association, but I'm meeting her for the first time. Thank you very much, sir. I look forward to working with you and associating with you on many academic endeavors. Thank you very much. Nitin ji, thanks very much for a wonderfully moderated session. Thank you. Thanks for all of you.
Thanks to all the Elets team also, and Ashutosh, you and all the Elets team, and Dr. Ravi Gupta. Thanks to you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.